anybody, I am Alpacapatrol, and this is Binding of Isaac Wrath of the Lamb. That's running back another episode of Binding of Isaac Wrath of the Lamb. Today, we're going to be playing a challenge run called Bane. Essentially, it's a challenge run brought to you by Free Zenification, a long-time viewer of the channel. The rules are, we're not supposed to take the first two items, which are like the boss room and the treasure room. We have PhD and meat, and essentially when we fight bosses, we have to talk like Bane. So, one thing I should mention is we haven't had Isaac in like 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, something like that. There's a multitude of reasons for that. One of the reasons being that my sleep schedule's awful. Another one of those reasons being is I kind of want to see what it's like to, for people to not have Isaac. The other reason is I also want, I wanted to rest my voice a bit. Because my voice was still, like, hurting. And in all likelihood, in truth right now, it still actually kind of hurts. Which is kind of shitty. Because you would think that it would have healed in a couple of days, but evidently not. So I guess I just got to take some different kind of medications. Than this. Hey, we're gonna miss out on it. Hey, we're going to miss out on... I have to really get into Bane voice, hold on. Yes, the fire rises. You only adopted the dark. I was born in it, famine. The fire shall rise for you, my friend. Ah, now he's kind of Jewish. He's kind of Jewish Bane. I could do Jewish Bane the whole time. Jewish Bane, what's wrong with you, hey? What are you doing with that shellfish in your mouth? Ah! It's a bad idea. Also, like, probably mildly racist with the shellfish thing. Although, Jewish people don't eat shellfish, right? Like, that's the Jewish thing, right? I mean, that's the Jewish thing, right? Batman! I don't know if I could do this Bane voice thing. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen the third Batman movie. I'll be honest. It's been quite some time. Although, keep in mind, by the way, the only reason that we have these items is so that we kind of look like Bane. It'd be nice if there was one item that like made Isaac all muscular, or if there was just a Bane item in the next in Rebirth. That would be pretty sweet. I would be pretty excited for that. If there was just like a Bane item and then the character's just like the fire rises, I'd be pumped. So by the way, we skipped the items that we were supposed to skip. Now we can take all the items. All the items are available to us, which is nice. I love having items available to us. I really hope that they don't have fire spiders in Rebirth, but it's entirely possible that they will. Brother Bobby. You know, I'm gonna take Brother Bobby. I'm taking Brother Bobby, because the thing is, Brother Bobby is pretty much a straight damage up, and I don't really want to re-roll it. Because it could be something terrible. And also, we don't get Brother Bobby that often. Oh, tits. Yeah, anyway. Doesn't matter. We took it. Can't undo it now. Shit's dealt with. We're gonna use some stuff. Okay. Interesting. I don't want to use it, but I'll re-roll it. To 25 cents! That's pretty cool. I think that was well worth it. That was well worth our time. And we got a Guppy item, too, which means that we could potentially become Guppy. Imagine Cat Bane! Flying Cat Bane, no less. I mean, geez. Like, if Batman had to fight both Catwoman and Bane at the same time, merged as one sexy, yet also devilishly handsome, villain... You know, I don't know if Batman would have been able to deal with it. It would be very difficult, I'll be honest, because, you know, fighting such a beast would be quite the challenge for even the greatest of men, namely the Batman. Okay, we're gonna do this. You know, someone, one of my friends, was angry that people call him the Batman and also Batman. Understandable, you know? I think I see that. I understand where people are coming from on that. But I think it's kind of cool that people call him the Batman. Because you don't really call, like, Spider-Man the Spider-Man or Superman the Superman, right? Because there's no reason to. But Batman is the Batman. I don't know. I think it's just because of the original Detective Comics stories where... Because, by the way, did you know that Batman didn't actually first appear in a Batman comic? Batman first appeared in Detective Comics number, like... 70 or 17, something like that. Something with a 7 in it. And I could be totally wrong with that. But yeah, Batman actually originally appeared in Detective Comics because he was sort of around the era of whatchamacallit. He was sort of around the era of pulp action heroes. So what people don't realize is the superhero culture sort of existed as well before superheroes existed. So when people think like when superheroes existed, this is not what this episode's supposed to be about. But hey, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna rant about superheroes because it just started. But anyways, so people think superhero era is like Silver Age of comics, 1940s and onwards with Superman, right? Well, you're not entirely wrong. In fact, you're not wrong at all. That is when superheroes basically first existed. I have enough bombs. Oh yeah, what am I doing? I can use a key to go to the shop. Fuck yeah. Oh! The candle. Well, you know, it kind of hurts to have to let go of the D6 this early, but, you know, the candle's one of those items. We kind of look like Bane now. Let's look for the secret room, why not? It could be here. We only have one chance, but hey, it could be here. Hey, it is there! Look at that. Alright, and we got all our money back from the candle. But anyway, so superhero era did really technically begin with Superman and the whole, you know, Silver Age of comics. However, Batman was created before Superman, but he was not considered a superhero. Now, the reasoning for this is because, like I said, he was part of the pulp action, like, style. So, early pulp heroes are like, the Spider, or, the Shadow. Although the Shadow wasn't really, like, he started as more of a radio guy than, or a radio, drama than an actual comic, even though he did inevitably become a comic. So the way that works is, or what they were, or like Zorro, say. What they were are guys who were sort of would wear masks and costumes and stuff. Like, if you look at the Spider, he looks so silly. Like, the Spider looks real silly. He's like, oh wait, no, I'm not thinking about the Spider. I'm thinking about the Phantom. The Phantom looks real silly. Because what the Spider doesn't look that silly. The Spider looks more like a traditional pulp hero. But the Phantom is in a full bodysuit, a full purple bodysuit. Not kidding. He wears goggles, and he has two, like, twirly mustache things. So, like, he... Oh, God. Alright, well, fuck me, I guess. Oh, for the love of God. Oh, my God. This fight, sometimes RNG just really, really wants to hurt you. But anyway... So yeah, he looked real silly. Now, they wore costumes, but they weren't traditionally superheroes. For the most part, they didn't have superpowers. The Shadow did, sort of. He had, like, fucking, like, telepathic powers. Like, he could definitely make Clues disappear. Oh, the Clued! Disappear, Clued, blue scoo. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, by the way, you really need to. I'm gonna link it. I'm linking it. It's happening. I'm linking it down in the description. And you guys need to watch it. That shit needs to happen. It's this guy who wants to make clouds disappear, with his mind. I'm sorry. It's just too good. But yeah, so anyway, it doesn't matter. He had like telekinetic powers, which is cool. But essentially, the thing that kind of separated pulp heroes and like superheroes of the modern era are that pulp heroes were sort of anti-heroes. They all were sort of anti-heroes. None of them were really like traditional. They weren't like what you would consider. Oh, look, the tears up. Oh, right, we have PhD. That's awesome. We can see. Hey, full health. All right, well, I'll keep that. But yeah, they're not really what you would consider like a superhero of today, unless you consider them like Batman. Because they were sort of anti-heroes. They would be totally cool with killing people. The Spider, for instance, was a lot like Spider-Man. He like swung around on these web shooters that he had, except also he carried two guns. two fucking M1911s, and he would shoot people. So like they were totally cool with killing people. You know, a good example of that kind of idea is sort of Darkman, which was you know, a movie by Sam Raimi in the 90s. But yeah, like Darkman sort of had that kind of feel to it, where he wasn't a superhero, he was a pulp hero. So it's really so like I said, Batman sort of came out of that era. I didn't talk in the Bane voice in that last boss fight. I feel so wrong, yet so right. No, I'm sorry. I will talk in Bane voice. I will talk in Bane voice in both rooms. The rooms before and after the boss. I guess I might as well use the Dead Sea Scrolls once. Hey, it worked! See, that's why I used the Dead Sea Scrolls once, because it could be Book of Sin. God, why is my voice so shitty right now? I don't know. Alright, but anyway, so yeah. He came out of that era, and because he was in the 1930s. He showed up in Detective Comics, and Detective Comics was sort of a, well, it was a pulp magazine, right? So it was sort of, it sort of told those kind of stories. It would tell fiction about detectives and stuff, or weird pulp heroes and shit. So you had Batman appear, which is like this costumed detective who would show up and solve crimes and terrorize criminals and such. So, you know, he sort of started as this kind of terrifying figure, which is what's so interesting about the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, because they sort of brought Batman back. Well, for common people, for non-comic book nerds, Batman and Christopher Nolan era Batman brought Batman back into the fold as like this dark anti-hero, this brooding, terrifying creature of darkness kind of guy. Whereas he wasn't that for a long time because of the Golden Age of Comics. In the Golden Age of Comics, essentially what happened was, you know, Batman survived through the pulp era, unlike most other pulp action heroes, because he was sort of a superhero as well. He fell under the DC Comics sort of moniker, so he kind of stuck around as well because of that. Because DC also had, DC wasn't DC at the time, but they also had Superman, right? I mean, they basically created Superman. So, I forget what they were called at the time, but they weren't DC. But anyway, so basically after that era, it was the Golden Age, and in the Golden Age of comics, it was basically it was the censorship of comics. So much like video games today, comics in the era of I guess I'm gonna go to the shop. When I go into that judgment room, I will speak in Bane voice, I promise you. Yeah, in the era of or the Golden Age, it was like all about the censorship and whatnot. I guess I'll take the battery. Literally useless for us, and I probably shouldn't have taken it, now that I think about it, you know, full way through. But, doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna keep going. But yeah, so in that era, it sort of was the censorship of comics because, much like video games, TV, movies, the parents of the world thought that the comic books were corrupting the youth. I don't even know what this voice is. Yes, the fire rises. Ah, now I have Bane voice a little bit better. So the parents were afraid that their children were being corrupted by comics. Oh, fuck it. Let's get out of here. Let's skedaddle. Yeah, let's get out of here. I just took Demon Baby. I like Demon Baby. You know what? We're gonna deal with it. Wow, we got Curse of Labyrinth. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Rainbow Baby. Alright, we got a familiar run is what we look like. Hey, you know what? We just have a bunch of Banes, like, entourage, essentially, is all it is. I'm gonna tell one of these guys that they're gonna have to, stay on the plane and die. And then it's gonna be like, you know, they're gonna have to know that the fire rises. And that's important. Anyway. Oh god! But yeah. So Golden Age of Comics. It was the censorship of comics. Make them less dark. Batman was all dark. He kind of started as a hero that, you know, would strike terror into the hearts of villains, right? That was his whole deal. But what happened is, instead of that, it made the theatricality of Batman in that era, because they started having all these gimmicky villains, like Two-Face appeared in that era, the Riddler, you know, stuff like that, where they would just have like this silly gimmick that the character would be attached to, and that Batman would have to face them that way. And then in that era, you have the 60s Batman, right? The Adam West Batman, and that's what people thought of Batman in that time, right? They thought of that silly, cartoony, like humorous Batman, not the actual dark, gritty, pulp action type Batman that he was initially intended to be by Jack Kirby. So essentially that pervaded through Batman stories for a long time, until the 1980s. Because in the 80s, what happened was you saw Frank Miller do some Batman stories. Frank Miller is the guy who you probably know did 300, right? Like his 300 was his sort of claim to fame in the modern era, or in like today, like what people know of for Frank Miller is they know of like the 300 thing. But what Frank Miller actually did is he wrote two very important, very influential comics about Batman. The two very influential, very important comics were, firstly, he wrote... By the way, Frank Miller also wrote Ronin, which Samurai Jack is based on. Really cool comic. Anyway, I'm going to go in here. And I'm going to talk like Bane. Yes, the fire rises. God damn it, we have Mask of Infamy. This is going to be fucking awful, like it always is. I really hate Mask of Infamy. So we're going to fight him mostly with the candle. So anyway, the two very influential comics that he wrote were Batman Year One, and also, what is it called? The Dark Knight Returns. Two very influential, very important comic books. The reason that they were important is because they basically brought Batman back into that scope, back into that gritty idea of what Batman is really supposed to be. I'm gonna go over here, because I don't want to talk like Bane voice while I talk about this for a little while. I'm gonna go see if I can find a key. See if that can happen for me, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to achieve that goal. No key right there, that's unfortunate. Okay, some coins. I like coins. I like keys too, though. But yeah, so basically Frank Miller made those two comics very important. They basically made Batman gritty again. Now, what sort of happened was it sort of led to a rebirth of Batman even in popular media. So like the Tim Burton Batman in the 1989, that was sort of based on, not based on, the story wasn't based on anything, really. It was based on, you know, whatever the writer decided to base it on. But the art style was in the style of like The Dark Knight Returns. Because, you know, he looked at that, Tim Burton, and he saw that it was cool. It was flashy, but it was also gritty and dark, which is exactly what he likes. It was theatrical and also silly. I mean, it was silly and then also dark, which, you know, he's a big fan of that kind of style, obviously. So it was sort of like that. However, it was still kind of held over from the era of silly Batman, right? That's what he imagined as Batman, because that's what everyone of that sort of era sort of imagined of Batman, of that age anyway. One really influential part of Batman, though, was the 90s TV show. One of the best cartoon shows ever, by the way. Just keep in mind, if you ever have the chance to watch Batman the Animated Series. They have one season of it on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. Or no, they have one season of Samurai Jack. I don't know if they have any Batman the Animated Series on there. Actually, I don't think they do. I think they have, like, fucking Justice League, and they don't have fucking Batman, which is retarded. Anyway, so yeah, that's one of the best animated series, like, ever. Am I gonna use a heart? No, I don't really want to. I don't really want to use a heart in order to get a key. Really would prefer not to do that. Yeah, so... Alright, well, now I'll use a heart to get a key. Oh my god. What is this, Kane's Eye? I don't really want Kane's Eye. Let's use a heart to get a key. Let's do it. Alright, we gotta look for... We're gonna get our hearts back up to snuff. And then I guess we'll just go down to the next floor. Ah, alright, well, definitely don't want to fight for that heart. We could use the full health pill also, by the way, but, you know, don't really want to do that. I could also look for the shop, but, again... Oh, wow! That's interesting. That's real interesting. Let's see what it gives us. Oh, no, I want to see what this is. Please tell me. So yeah, it made Batman gritty and dark again. The Batman the Animated Series did a really good job in that, it also, like, it sort of had that theatricality of the Tim Burton movies, yet it also was super true to what Batman was. Which is just, you know, this dark, gritty action hero. Oh. Well, let's leave that white heart for now. Are we going to take damage here? No, we're not. Okay, good. I guess we'll just go fight this boss. If we get hit once or something, then I might have to use the full health pill, which, you know, may be inevitable. Oh, right, it's Mom. Oh, shit. So we should have taken that white heart. Balls. I didn't realize that it was Mom because it's, Curse of Labyrinth. It's unfortunate. I should really be using... Oh my god, it didn't fire again. I really hate when it does that. Like, it just didn't fire. There we go. Anyway. Probably should have used full health there, to be totally honest with you. Because if I had gotten killed by that foot shadow thing, I would have been so mad. But anyway... Oh, and I didn't speak in Bane voice again! Damn it. Yes, the fire rises. See, I only have to speak in Bane voice during boss fights, so it's a little bit confusing sometimes, but it seems that we're going to have a long loading screen here. And, perhaps, this is a good time for Bane voice. I will leave the Bane voice going for a little while longer. While we pick up these coins, and so on and so forth. Alright, cool. Anyway, Batman Animated Series sort of made Batman what Batman is now. Or sort of, like, gave people the modern idea of what Batman is or should be. I mean, in all honesty, I fell in love with Batman through that animated series. It's super good. And that's not even just nostalgia, by the way. Like, that's not like nostalgia goggles talking. Like, that is seriously one of the best animated series ever. And it's really, really good. And if you never watched it, you should, because it's awesome and you're missing out. Anyway, so, you know, dark, gritty Batman, 80s, so on and so forth. Sort of brought Batman back to that pulp action sort of hero. And then, you know, made Batman a real character again, made him not really a superhero, made him an interesting character, because before he was kind of that sort of flappable, adorable, not really adorable, but like, you know, kind of just silly, like, there's just, like, silly shit that they did, like, in that era. Like, they added Batmite, which is like this little bat friend thing that he had as a pal that would be... I don't even fucking know. It was a load of crock of shit. But Batman in that era was real bad. However, some of the gimmicky villains that were created in that era, like, say, like Two-Face and stuff, that was really cool. I mean, there was some cool gimmicky villains for Batman to sort of face off against that were created in that golden age of comics era. And the reason it was called the golden age of comics is not because you know, it was like people's favorite age of comics necessarily. But mostly because it was where comics sold the most. See, what people don't really understand when they cry horror over the censorship of things is that people really like that shit. People are totally down for not hearing any curse words in their whatever, or not hearing any dark stuff. Ooh, the Ankh, that's pretty cool. Not hearing any dark stuff in anything. That, like, comics sold like crazy in that era. Like, people really liked that sort of, you know, homogenization of things. I mean, you can look at even the modern games industry, right, and see every fucking first-person shooter is the only thing, first-person shooters are the only thing that comes out. Everybody's upset about it, everybody's yelling about how, oh man, I'm so tired of first-person shooters, yet you keep buying them, motherfuckers, so that's why you're still getting more first-person shooters. So, you know, that's sort of the idea here. We got a coin, interesting. Don't want to really use a bomb for a single coin. You know, any time that there's anything in rocks in the womb, I always sort of want to go and use it, but tits. I'm getting out. Peace. Don't need to fight that shit. I would like die. Like, you know, I realized that fight was going pretty well. Doesn't matter. I don't want to waste my full health pill. Anyway, we're moving on. So yeah. Frank Miller kind of did that. Now, here's the thing, Christopher Nolan era, Batman. Because a lot of people think of Batman, they think of, Tim Burton Batman, right? Like, a lot of people don't read the comics, so they don't know about dark, gritty Batman, right? They don't really know about it. Oh, boy. They don't really know about, like, the comic era Batman. They don't really know about the animated series. So what Chris Nolan did is he brought Batman back into the gritty era. He was sort of the Frank Miller of the movies, for Batman. Because he made Batman an interesting character again, unlike the sort of Tim Burton era, like fucking Joel Schumacher, Ice to Meet You Batman. Which was kind of, you know, silly. Fun in its own way, but also just not Batman. Hangman, interesting. Well, again, I'm going to keep full health. I could have used the world, but I didn't really care to. Oh, come on. I fucking hate it when they teleport inside of you. They really gotta change that in Rebirth, because that's just fucking absurd. Now I have to walk all the way back to go get a heart. Because he teleported in me, and I had like a 25% chance to not get hit, essentially. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah. Chris Nolan. Now, here's the fun fact. Sort of important. You know that the Batman movies, the Chris Nolan Batman movies, are actually loosely based on those Frank Miller Batman novels, graphic novels? Like, the first Batman movie with Chris Nolan, Batman Begins, where it featured Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, as he's actually properly pronounced. Ra's al Ghul, he was the, whatchamacallit, butt lover. No, that was actually based on Batman Year One, loosely. Like, Ra's al Ghul didn't really feature in the actual Batman Year One. In fact, some of the storylines of Batman Year One appear in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, for instance, the whole Catwoman thing. So Catwoman's in Batman Year One, and she has that same kind of story, where she's with, like, this other girl and all this stuff, and shit like that. Not super important, though. As important as it was in Dark Knight Rises. But, so yeah, the Year One, you also have Dark Knight Returns, right? Which is the other Frank Miller story. That's sort of what's featured in Dark Knight Rises. Because it's about Batman who hasn't been Batman for a good period of time. In Dark Knight Rises, it's like 10 years and he's an old man. Whereas in Dark Knight Rises, or in Dark Knight Returns, I'm sorry, the comic book, it's like 10 years later and he's an old man. Whereas in Dark Knight Rises, he's not really an old man, but he stopped being Batman for a while. But has to come back for this horrible thing, right, that has happened. Oh, alright, you know I get to leave, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna go ahead and hope that this is the right way. I don't know if it is. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. It is! Ah, that's great. Okay. Well, let's go fight this boss. I don't know if we can deal with him. Yes, the fire rises. So, Batman is a great, great man. No, but, you know, Batman, does things. Oh, yeah, so, they basically, Christopher Nolan used comic book story arcs, for a lot of his stories. Jonathan Nolan, by the way, his brother, is the one who writes the movies. So he's really the one who sort of takes, the idea of what, Batman should be or whatever. But anyway, all of that doesn't matter. Q, full health, full health! Motherfucker! It didn't do it at first! Sometimes this game is a big old piece of shit. Oh dear, can we beat the boss? Oh, I don't know. We don't have that much health, but we're gonna get him. Yeah, alright, cool. That's glorious. Let's go get this, heart. Good. And now we shall go to the chest. Except we don't have any keys, so that's kind of shitty. And now I know where the boss is, however, we're not getting there. There's no fucking way. You see how far the boss is gonna be? Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to survive with this many hearts and nothing else. Oh my god. Oh my god, I don't think we're gonna be able to survive this fight. Oh my god. Double fucking... Ah, titties. Yeah, this fight, I don't even know, man. Oh, for the love of God, no, we're so dead. Yeah. Alright, there's no way. Oh, come on. Ah. Well, time to die in the same way. Unless I could get them both triggering, but I won't be able to do that consistently. Yeah. You can do it for a little while when you have double Monstro too, but for an extended period of time, that shit ain't gonna happen. Although, we're doing some good damage now. Oh, titties. Old titties. Yeah, no, alright, we're dead. But yeah, so, Batman. Interesting, interesting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that whole entire fucking rant on Batman. Probably not. I'm sorry about that. But you know what? When you make me speak like Bane... Bane, by the way, is a really interesting character. Bane was treated incorrectly in even the animated... Well, actually, the first episode with Bane in the animated series was pretty good, but then he kind of turned into the shitty character that he ended up being in modern era sort of Bane. They make Bane this, like, mindless monster in comics now, where he's just, like, really, really big and buff, and his only thing is he's super strong. But the thing about Bane was that he was super smart. The first time that he appears, he defeats Batman. He breaks his back, which is what happens in Dark Knight Rises. That's part of, Nightfall? I think it's Nightfall story arc. And that's also where Christopher Nolan got that story for Bane from. So he followed the comics pretty closely, even though it was such a loose adaptation of the comics. Anyway, all that doesn't matter. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Isaac sorry that it took so long to get a new episode out, but I wanted my voice to kind of heal a little bit. Recording a lot of videos a day ends up fucking killing your voice, man. So, I'd like to keep it at least a little bit alive. I know this one girl who actually, she was a singer and she overworked her voice. Now she can only whisper because they had to actually cut out her vocal cords. It's fucked up. It sucks when that happens. I'm not saying, I'm in no way saying that I'm in danger of that happening. And that if I make Daily Isaac videos that will happen. I'm not saying that at all. It was just an anecdote that also was sort of tangential to what we were, or not tangential, but just, you know, analogous. Not analogous either. Similar. That's all it is. It was similar. Anyway, doesn't matter. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Post your custom challenge runs down below. I'll do the most upvoted one. By the way, that voice crack was exactly what I'm talking about. My voice hurts. So yeah. Post your custom challenge runs. I'll do the most upvoted one. I'll have fun saying hello to you in the comments once more, friends. I love you guys. You're the best. Make my day every single day. This is Alpacapatrol, signing out. Peace, fools.